So you want to do VR, like a virtual reality in FPV on your DJI Mini 2. All right, so I will explain what you need to do for and how to do it in probably the cheapest way to do it. So the first thing you need is obviously your DJI Mini 2. All right, so you have your DJI Mini 2 with the latest firmware, the latest updates. And let's just unfold this little guy right here, like that. We're not going to fly him, but we're going to have to turn him on at some point. So you need DJI Mini 2. Next, you need, obviously, your remote, because we're going to do something special with this little guy. And your phone, obviously. This is a Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Lite. And there's a reason I took the Lite, and I'll explain it in a second. And you're going to need a USB-C cable. Now, if you look at it, this is a USB-C on both ends. Okay, it's not a regular flat USB that you put inside of a PC. It's USB-C on both ends of the cable. This is an important part of this to make it work. And last, you're going to need a VR headset. Now, this particular VR headset I got off of wish.com. It was like $7 or something. It's cheap piece of plastic, nothing very special about it, but it has, you know, it's a bit padded here, so it's a little bit comfortable. The straps here are somewhat adjustable. They could be a little bit better than that. It's pretty okay. The cool part is the lenses are adjustable, so you can adjust them front and back like this, and you can adjust them side to side like that. So to fit, you know, to best fit your face. But also, there's something else in there that this makes it a little bit better than what I thought. You'll see in a moment in the Litchi app. By the way, you need the Litchi app, which is a beta right now for the Mini 2. Because you can open this little door here, and this exposes the camera of your cell phone. And as it exposes the camera, you can actually switch back and forth between like dome view or VR camera view through here. So you can either view the feed coming from here, or you can view it coming from the camera off of your drone. I'll show that in a minute. So also what I like about this one is it's just a tray. It's a simple little tray to install the phone inside. You just slap it in and pull it out. So this is a lot easier than some other headsets where you have to like remove some clamp here, fold it out. This is an easy one. Just pull it out, put it back in. I love that. So these are fairly easy. These are basically, the idea behind this is to mimic the Google Cardboard. So the Google Cardboard was you put your phone, it's a little piece of cardboard, you put some elastic straps and it holds it onto your face, and that's it. And there was a little magnet switch as well. This one doesn't have the magnet switch, but I use a Bluetooth controller, you know, whenever I play like VR games with this thing, right? I don't usually use this particular phone, but this is the phone I use for my drone. So I will show you, and it's a really tight fit. So let's get to it. First of all, what we're going to do is we are going to set this thing up. Now, because of this phone, hold on, I got to close a whole bunch of apps. Because this phone is so big, I actually have to take it out of its case. Okay, so I have to remove it from its case right here. It went beep beep. I got some messages and stuff like that. Oh, it's a weather alert. It's going to snow outside. So this is the Galaxy Note 10 Lite, and the camera is right here at the back, right? And it barely fits inside of this tray. So as you put the phone here, this little piece here lifts up. And then you insert your phone like that, and you try to push it as much that way as possible. But as you start putting it in, it just kind of slides in. The problem I have with the Note 10 Lite is if you look at it right here, the little clamp that holds the phone in also pushes down on the power button right there. So you can't turn it on and off with the power. You have to pull it out to turn the power on and off. But the advantage that I have by having a Note 10 is if you look on the side, your ports are exposed. Here's your USB-C port, and here is a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. The normal Galaxy Note 10 does not have that, but this one does. And the reason I like it is because I use, regular wired earphones like this. And it's a little tangled, sorry about that. And this one here on the right has a microphone, right? So when I do screen recording, I actually plug this in right here. So it plugs in right there, okay? So I can actually narrate. So what I do is I turn on the screen recording and I have this right here, basically, and with the microphone just sitting right there. And this is in my VR headset right in front of my face. And I narrate videos sometimes. So as I'm flying around, I do narration. I use the screen recorder inside the phone to do that. And in post-processing, what I will do is I'll use the video from the drone and I'll synchronize it with the narration. Just use the audio track from the screen recording and combine it with the video from the drone itself. So that ends up being a narrated video as I look over, interesting areas, and I can give a commentary on what we're looking at and stuff like that. So that's for that style of video. I don't always do that kind of style, but when I do it, this is very practical to have that. Now, normally I would just hook this up to my remote, but in this case we're doing, VR. So I didn't want to lose this feature when I do VR. Right, the next thing you want to do is your remote. So the one thing is usually, so you pop this open, the antennas, right? And you're gonna leave it open because we need this to expose the antennas to get a good broadcast. But normally you would pop out your USB-C connector here, your OTG connector, and plug it into your phone when you slide your phone in. This time we're just gonna pop this up entirely here. So take that and just set it aside. And this is where the big USB-C cable comes in. So you take this and you plug it in to your USB-C connector on the remote. Sorry, I'm trying to do this at an angle. So like that. And then you have a very long USB-C cable, right? So with this long USB-C cable, you plug in the other end into the phone here, into the back of the phone, right? So you have your remote. And then you slide this in here. And that's it. So as you can see from the side here, you have your USB-C cable going to your remote. And in my case, I have the earphones, so I can narrate. And if you look at it, again, you have right here, when you open this little door, you have the camera from the phone is exposed. Because there is a way inside of Litchi to switch between that camera and that. I think I'm repeating myself about that. But you can also close this to keep the sun out if that bothers you. I find it practical to do this sometimes. I'll show you when I go outdoors, because I can take a look where the drone is and I can literally spot it. The one problem with that is you got to turn off the joystick mode and stuff like that. We'll see that in a second. To switch it, and I'll show you this later on, is in your remote here, you have your function button. You will see in the Litchi app there is a way to redefine the keys, C1 and C2. C1 being a simple press and C2 being a double press, right? So C1, C2. And you can change these functions. So what I did is I mapped C1, single press, to switch between that camera and that camera, right? So while I'm operating, I don't have to take the VR headset off to have situational awareness and find out where is my drone and try to locate it in the sky. I just press this button, switch to that camera, and then I can look around and I spot it. And when I see it, I can press this and switch back to the drone camera to see what it is looking at, right? All this in VR mode. The C2, like that, double press, switches this from a normal mode where you have to control your yaw manually to the joystick mode, or you could select immersion mode. I tried immersion mode and I didn't really like it. Immersion mode gets a little bit confusing because it's not really immersive. It's not like a regular VR headset. When you put a VR headset and you're playing a game, when you turn like it instantly turns because it has super fast response. So that way you're looking that way, you're looking that way, you're looking there, up, down, whatever. It immediately shows what you're looking at. With the drone, it's very different. With the drone, when you turn like this, suddenly, it takes a while for the drone to actually get to that position in immersion mode. So if you suddenly turn like this and you go like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to turn this way. Oh, as you're moving along, this poor little drone can't keep up. So the video gets all wiggly. And that's bad enough. Joystick mode is also not responsive enough, but I think it might be better suited for a VR headset. Joystick mode, again, will control the yaw, right? And what it does, though, is it's basically an off-center. So you're sitting like, in immersion mode, you would go all the way around 360 degrees like this, right? So if you want to see something back there, you would turn around and look back there. And then you would see what's going on over there. In joystick mode, all you got to do is turn right or left. So you can just turn a little bit. The more you turn your head towards the right or towards the left, say 90 degrees like this, or 150, all the way back, the motion of the controller going of your phone going this way feeds the yaw stick, right? Oh, sorry, this side. Feeds the yaw stick. It feeds the yaw at a gradual rate. A slow turn will go like this, and a fast turn will go like that. And that's how it works. So as you turn, you go a little bit like that. So the idea here that I've discovered is that I'm flying around and I'm looking through my VR glasses and I see something on the bottom right, which is interesting. So my center point is facing straight, right? The drone is going that way. It's facing straight. And I see something over there I want to see. So I just turn my head a little bit down that way and down. And what it does is it'll tilt the camera downwards, right? So the gimbal will tilt downwards to face that, and the drone will start turning that way to face that. But as it turns, my subject comes into view, centered. So as the drone turns like this, my view in the VR headset is my subject goes from over there and starts gradually coming up to the middle here. And as it comes to the middle, I want to keep it centered in my view screen. So I'm looking at it going like, okay, it's over there. But as the drone turns towards it like that, and it's actually over here. So I start looking this way, this way, this way until I'm perfectly centered again. So when I am perfectly centered here, the drone is not supposed to be turning left or right like that. It's supposed to be fixated on my subject with the proper gimbal angle if I'm pointing downwards like that. Okay? That's the idea. That's why I like joystick mode a little bit better, because it allows me to kind of focus on that and then just travel towards it. It's more like piloting, like a first-person perspective of piloting an aircraft. You see something you're interested over there, you just look at it, and then when you start turning, so it's like your body. Like, look at my body on my head. I'm looking at it, but my body's facing this way. And then I kind of turn my body towards it, right? But then it's still straight. But in reality, I'm actually just this way right here, and it's the drone that's essentially in my body turning that way. So I'm looking this way, I'm looking that way, and then the drone turns and I go like that. So I'm still facing forward. And that's supposed to be your endpoint when you're looking around. The trouble is when you have something in the back that you can't see, you go like, okay, I saw something back there and I want to see it again. So you turn right until the drone essentially turns and turns and turns and then sees the subject. So if that's what you wanted to see over there, as it looks at it, again, you turn back this way and try to keep it focused in the middle. So you just got to remember that your center point is, like your 0 point, is essentially straightforward like this when you start it. So as you can see, you just kind of, to operate it, you just kind of take off my glasses. You put your VR headset like this, you adjust all your lenses and all that, and you keep this open here so you can switch between modes. And then you pick up your remote and you just operate it like this. So the normal start, up, down, you know, like this. So this you can control the yaw. Now you can still control the yaw while you're doing this, but if I'm turned this way and I'm yawing to the left here, I'm essentially fighting the drone. The VR headset is giving a command to turn right, and I'm giving it a command to turn left, which is, you know, the poor little drone gets very confused, and one has a priority over the other. It gets all messed up. You want to try to avoid using yaw when you're in joystick or in immersion mode. Really what you want to do is you want to focus on your right stick right here. So you want to go, you know, forward, backwards, you know, slide to the right, slide to the left. This is when you want to position. And then you want to use your VR headset like that to actually position the camera on your subject as a pivot. So this is where you basically move it, and that's your pivot point. And then your VR headset is used to move around that pivot to look at what you're looking at, right? Now also your altitude right here, right? You still want to do altitude climb up, climb down. I usually set it at an altitude that's high enough above the trees, because one of the problems that I found with wearing a VR headset like this is that the situational awareness of what's going on around you gets very low. You're not very aware. And there's something else, and you're gonna realize this when you try it, is that when you're flying normally and you're looking at your drone going around, you're using both eyes. You got binocular vision, and binocular vision allows us to have a 3D perspective, so you have a depth perspective as well. And by that, you can kind of judge the distance between you, the drone, and obstacles, right? And you can say, oh, okay, that's a little close or something like that. Now, when you press your little button here, C1, and you switch to this camera, you have monocular vision. You only see like one eye. There's only one camera here. There's no two cameras. It's only one. So you lose your 3D vision. You lose your depth perception. And I found that out the hard way, where I thought the drone was in a position. I tried to land it. It did not land where I thought it was. And I've done these kind of things a number of times where I can perfectly position the drone and land it when I'm outside looking at the drone. I'm looking at the drone, I'm commanding right here, and I can put it down exactly where I want it. But the problem is with this monocular vision, I had no idea if it was here or if it was over here. So I had a really hard time trying to land it right there, because without the depth perception, your brain gets all messed up. So anyway, so that's essentially how your setup is going to work. You also are going to need to sign up to the beta program at this time. This is February 2nd, 2022. You have to sign up to the Litchi beta program. So you need to download the Litchi app. In Canadian dollars, it's $31 online, $31.99, so $32. And it's a beta program. So you need to sign up for the beta program to activate the Mini2 to get the VR working. So one final thought. I have tested this, and you're going to see the video in a minute about me doing some testing yesterday when it was nice and sunny outside. And I am not impressed. I have to tell you right now, I don't think this really works for any type of camera photography. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a fun little thing to try out, but you're not going to get full 3D, VR FPV style like the actual DJI FPV drone. It's not going to happen that way. It will not fly the same way, guaranteed. The other thing too is there are so many issues with lag response, depth perception, and so on, that it really is actually a pain. And on top of that, when you're in VR mode on the screen, there's a lot of these controls that just don't work. You can't do orbits, you can't do follow, you can't do track, you can't do a bunch of these features when you're in VR mode. So that's a bit of an issue for photographers. So if you're thinking I'm going to take my VR headset and I'm just going to fly it around and I'll do normal photography, don't. It's not going to work out that way. The transitions, the movements are going to be notchy. They're going to be imprecise. You're not going to get smooth video. So if you're used to, using your controls and using your gimbal here and it's slightly like that, just going very gently so you can get some nice transitions, like reveals and stuff like that. Not going to happen with the VR headset. I can guarantee you that. The movement with the VR is notchy. It's jumps. It's very, very notchy. It's difficult to control. So it's fun to play around with, though. I mean, the only reason I did it is because I already had this. I play VR games and I, like Google Cardboard. I play these games that are compatible with Google Cardboard, and I play with this headset right here. So that's why I already had this. But if I didn't have it, I wouldn't go out and do the extra expense just to fly a Mini2 with VR. So okay, next little clip I'm going to put in here is I'm going to show you the app itself and some of the settings that what they do and how to do it and why. Again, the keyboard mapping for the key mapping for this button here is something which I think is really worthwhile. So I'm going to show you that in a second. Okay, so we are going to start up the Litchi app right here. Okay. All right, so we are now in the Litchi app, and my drone is right there. It's here in the kitchen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the VR mode. I'm going to do just a few little things to set up VR mode. First of all, you're going to click the little cog gear over here, and you do most of your settings as you normally would. But the important part is this one over here, keys. So keys, you have C1 FPV right here at the top left, and then C2 FPV right. As it turns out, on your remote, for the Mini 2 on the remote, it's the left button, the FN button. C1 being a single press, C2 being a double press. And what you want to do is, if you follow my video that I did earlier, you have mobile camera VR, and you have toggle VR immersive, toggle VR joystick, and so on. You have a bunch of functions you can map while you're in FPV mode. So for VR capabilities, what I suggest is mobile camera. So C1 will toggle between the camera on your mobile device, your phone, looking through the VR headset, or the camera on the drone itself. This is useful on the ground, as you'll see in a few minutes. The little door on the front of the VR headset, keep it open to expose the camera so you can look up in the air and try to find your drone or get a little bit more of the awareness of what's going on around you. And again, keep in mind, you have no depth of field perception anymore. It's all like monocular vision. And for C2, what you want to do is you want to toggle here. Toggle VR joystick, or you can also use toggle VR immersive. That's your choice. My preference is toggle VR joystick. So what happens is pressing C2, or in this case, the function button, double click. So click with the function button will set yourself into VR joystick. Most times what happens is by default, you're going to have gimbal tracking up and down by using the headset looking up and down. But looking side to side is normally disabled until you press your C2, your double click on the FN. That's when you enabled side to side tracking for your head. So, and again, it's optional. So if you don't want to do it, then just don't. Now, the next thing you want to do is here, right below the cog on the top right looks like a VR headset. So you click that, and there you go. You're now into VR mode, and you can see here that it's actually tracking. Now, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to put it down on the table here, so it's going to be looking downwards. And you got your settings right here. Display OSD shows all the information here. See, when you have it off, it's okay, but you don't have any idea about, your speed, your distance from you to from the drone to you, the altitude, and so on. So I like to turn that on, play, where it says A. A is your altitude, D is your distance, S is your speed. And then G basically is your GPS satellite. So right now I got 11 satellites. You got B for your battery on the drone, and 100% up and 100% down. That is your link between your mobile device, or actually I think it's the remote, to the drone itself. So right now we got 100% up and down. No interference. The depth offset right here I have set at 0.096. And if you hit minus, it goes a little bit more to the right, to the left on the left side, and to the right on the right side. As you click plus, it goes the other way. So you can bring it inwards or outwards. I had it at 0.96. This is where I feel comfortable. And this is going to be trial and error. You're going to have to adjust it and then put it back into the VR headset and look at it through the lenses of the VR and see if it works. What you don't want to have is you don't want to have two images which are kind of off. You want the images to merge. And a good way to do that is to look at the writing and the little drone icon, the little green arrow at the bottom there. So you want to look at that, the little drone icon, and you want to look at these letters here. If they merge together when you're looking through the VR headset, then you got it properly set up. You can adjust your gimbal speed as well. So I think 4 is the maximum. I did put it on the maximum, and even at the maximum of 4, it's not as responsive as tilting your head very quickly. So you're going to have to slow down your movements for your head, even at gimbal angle 4. Aircraft heading tracking. See, right now, none immersive in joystick. By default, it's none. And this is, again, what our C2, or double-click the FN button, is all about. Pressing that button should change it. Aircraft must be in the air. Okay, I can't do it now. I actually got to fly the drone. Once it's in the air, you can double click that. But you're going to want to get this out of your way like that. And this is how you're going to fly your drone. You're going to fly your drone to this view right here. And you're going to tilt up and down like that. And then when you turn, you can turn side to side like this. And yes, it's not going to be as responsive. Like, I'm going to try. Oh, no, I can't do that from this angle. Okay, so if I tilt C1, click C1, there you go. Okay, that is going to be your camera view. So as you can see, I can look at my drone right here. But what's interesting enough, and I'm going to turn it sideways like this. This is something you got to be aware of, okay? Look at the drone's gimbal. See how it goes up when I tilt up and it goes down when I tilt down. Okay, you got to be aware of that. The gimbal is still responding to your up and down movement, and there's no way to really turn that off unless you go into the settings and turn it off. So there's no function button that will just simply turn that off. And you got to be aware of that, because if you switch back and forth between this mode, right? So between this mode where you're looking at it through the drone itself and this mode where you're looking at it through your phone, right? As you're moving around like this, also be aware that if you have joystick or immersive turned on and you're turning side to side like this, if you leave that on and you switch back to this view right here from the cell phone camera, it will still turn the drone. So your Mini2 will still turn left and right like that along its axis, either in joystick mode or immersive mode, unless you turn it off. So switching the camera, you got to be aware of that. And that was with your double clicks. You could double click your function button, C2, to turn off the joystick mode. And then you can single click the function button, C1, to switch into this camera mode. So just be aware of that. That's something that I found confusing. All right, I think that's it for now. I think I've explained everything I need to explain. It's a fun little toy. If you guys have a VR headset and everything you need, go out and try it. If you don't, I would not recommend it. It's a waste of time. So here goes the Mini2 down there. I'm looking at it. She started. Should tell me about the home being adjusted. It's not telling me. Anyway, let's switch over to FPV mode. And there we are. So, we have a 92% battery. We're going to go up. We are going to go up to 60 meters. $60 meters is a safe altitude around here. I'm not going to hit anything except those condo buildings, but that's not where I'm going. All right, 63 meters. Let's look down, 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 down. All the way down so we can see us. There I am right down there. All right, tilting upwards. And now I'm going to double press my little function button over here to turn on joystick mode.
Joystick mode activated.
Joystick mode is on, so we're going to look that way. We're going to look that way. And then we center it on the park over there. There you go, that's where we're going. Oops. A little bit that way. Okay, that's where we're going. Now we're going to go forward. It's a little laggy. I have to turn it this way a little bit more. See, it's difficult to run. I can always do a yaw adjust like this to try to recenter. See, look, it lost its center. So now I got to move around. Okay, anyway, that's our park with the little skating rink, and that's where we want to focus on. Okay? So we're looking at our skating rink, but we see we're drifting. We can't maintain a center very well. If we turn right a little bit, it's hard to maintain center. Immersive mode is going to be worse than that. But we're right over the park. We're at 63 meters altitude. And there now I can look over at Mississauga. See the center point. Where is the center point? Now I'm drifting again. If I look that way. Okay. Now if I look that way, and I can recenter right there. Now I'll go look down. I can see the fire station right over there. So the immersive mode might be a little bit better, but this is joystick mode. And in joystick mode, what I wanted to do is that you just kind of look at where you want to go, and you just go. So going towards the fire station. Pardon me. What I just ate. It's a little notchy. See, it's a little notchy on the gimbal. But there's our fire station right over there. So we're hovering above the fire station. And we can look back at the condo towers over here and the townhomes. Now you can't see me, but I'm right there somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to look over this way. And I'm going to go to the park attraction right over there. See, it's difficult to maintain the center right here. It's just so look at that, see? Something about this thing is not being centered properly. But anyway, that's the attraction right down there. Now the cool part is you can go down. So you can still control your joystick normally. Back up a little bit. And you can turn. You can still use the yaw stick right there, what I'm doing. So I'm using my left hand to yaw. And then I can look up like this. And I'll turn that way. And I can come back to where I am. So I'm going to increase my altitude back up to 63 or 60. Going straight up. See, there's a little bit of drifting there. And I'm going to go forward. I'm kind of looking at myself here. I'm trying to center myself into the middle of the frame here. It's a little bit difficult. Now, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to try to see it. So while I'm flying like this, let's turn it on this way. Okay, I'm going to try to see it. So I'm going to switch over to the camera, and it should be right there behind me somewhere. Should be in the sky somewhere over there. I can't see it. So, no, it's facing completely the wrong way. We'll bring her around. Okay, I'll try to bring her right above us. And I'm going to lower a bit. I think I can hear it now. So I'm at about 40 meters right now. Looking up.
Joystick mode activated.
Joystick mode. I can turn that way. I can turn that way. Okay, let's see if it's centered. Switch the camera. And there she is, right in the center. Now, when I turn, it should still turn. I think it does. It's hard to tell right here, but in 4K resolution, I can probably see it. So now I can still fly it coming down. See right there? Just a little bit, 25 meters. A little bit of forward. And right there, go side. Just a little bit above me. Let's see what the camera sees. Okay, so looking down. Yeah, so I'm gonna go side, forward, and rotate a bit. I'm gonna try to nail that landing pad right there. So the landing pad is right over here by the left. So this is gonna be very difficult to accomplish, especially with VR mode. I want to hit that pad right there. So I'm gonna switch to
Joystick mode activated.
No, that's not what I want. Camera mode. So she should be right there. Okay, so you can see she's still spinning around like joystick mode is still activated.
Joystick mode deactivated.
So let's deactivate it. Let's back it up a little bit. Now the only problem is I don't have depth perception here, so I can't really tell where the pad is. And I missed the pad because I had no depth perception looking at the camera through the VR headset. I can't really see the distance, especially from this angle. Without any depth perception, it's hard to adjust. And that's it, I'm done. I just want to show VR mode, as cool as it seems, is not very useful. The only good use about it is that it blocks out the sun, so I can see the screen very clear. I don't need a sunshade over my screen. That's the one thing I do love about it. The whole head tracking thing though, no. It doesn't really work that well. You're better off just putting this on and turning off all this head tracking stuff entirely and just using your standard remote like this. And when it comes down here like this and you switch your camera right there, right? So you press the still button and click once and then switch your camera so you can see it. It's going to be very difficult to see it. So it might be better to use the drone point of view to actually perform your landing. So even if the camera is pointed completely down, you can see better from the drone point of view. What I just did was very difficult because I can't tell the difference. As you can see, I missed the landing pad. Usually when I fly it manually, I nail it right there in the middle of that pad right there. So unfortunately, that's not what I wanted. And you guys saw the whole thing, me twisting around and all that, and that's all going to be in the video. All right, thanks a lot, guys. We're done for today.
Warning, disconnected.